All right. We got 2 episodes. Let's jump into this. Wait, can I be hurt? Yeah, the mic's working. So we're reviewing episodes of Frieren Season 1, episodes 18 to 19. 19 was a request from Spear, because apparently he thought there was not going to be another cliffhanger.
I did my best.
I literally sat there, and I was looking at because I woke up, saw your message that Sunday, and I realized, like, because I've been saving my watch sessions for Sunday for some really weird reason. I just happened to see it, and I haven't watched the episode yet. And I'm like, I know you said you liked it, and I'm like, a part of me was like, why? Did something happen? And then you say just like, is he like a two-parter? I sat there, I'm like, I hesitated to tell you yes. Because I was like,
No, you didn't. And I would have been fine with you not telling me yes.
You don't request a lot of stuff. That's the thing. Like you don't request a lot. In fact, you don't request anything at all, which is strange.
Thought I will also dive in here and say that I think that it wouldn't hurt anything to like do 2 episodes, because 1 episode alone is not necessarily like, I wouldn't have had a ton to say, you know what I mean?
I just try to keep it to 1 because I just don't want to overwhelm myself mentally. So I'm everywhere in the landscape of my brain.
Well, I wouldn't want you to hurt yourself or anything. I mean, Jesus.
I mean, it's not like I'm gonna hurt myself. It's just like I'm all over in my brainscape, chasing down notes in my brain. It probably would help if I wrote things down, but I don't do that. I like going off the cuff. I like to go in by the seat of my pants.
Yeah.
But not that the guy too opposed to it. Just like I was enjoying the weekly. I mean, and it's not like we were like it's not like we were caught up yet, because I know the next season, apparently the villain is like gonna be a major part. So I'm guessing the villain gets revealed at the end the next villain gets revealed at the end of season 2. The way that I saw an image of a poster, and I'm just like, oh, what the heck? But I'm just like, I think I was that, and then I saw a movie poster or something, but I don't really remember anymore. It happened so long ago. Why is the music repeating? Hold up. Oh, there's 4 versions of it. Okay. Didn't realize I have like 4 versions of one song in the playlist. I guess with that, we're going to review episodes 18 and 19. This is the beginning of... Both episodes are literally the beginning of the mage exam. And I guess the episode begins not very eventful. We just see that, Frieren and the gang traveling to Oysterst. We finally made it. I forgot even when they began that journey to go to Oysterst. And then they also remind us the main reason why they're going to take this exam is because it's a requirement to have like which is kind of funny because they just lost their priest, but whatever. They need a pretty skillful priest and a high class level mage to be able to traverse the Northern Lands, because before when they did it, the Demon King was still rampant, but apparently there might be something else going on in the Northlands now, many years after the fact. Which I guess, hint, there's something going to be there for Frieren and the gang. So it would behoove them to at least Frieren get her high level mage rank officially there, and I guess Fern's going to get hers too, because she's there with Frieren in the test too. Also, I guess the interesting thing, as they were like at the registered, and apparently found out that I guess Frieren doesn't have like 5th level mage. So far, it sounds like there's like 9 level mages. There's 9 mage levels, and then there's the high rank. I don't think that there's only just 9. There may be more before they get to the high rank. I guess I don't really know. Because Frieren brought up a 9th level mage at some point. I was like, a 9th? What? But like Frieren was gonna register for the exam, found out that she didn't have the criteria, and then she's about to run away and leave Fern to deal with this by herself. Of course, Fern doesn't want to do this by herself, And then Frieren's like, as she holds up the necklace that she had as proof of her maginess, some
Hmm.
old dude just happens to notice it and then realizes like, oh wait, I know where this is from. Doesn't tell us anything. Just kind of recognizes the emblem, and then like
Hmm.
Frieren gets a free pass, I guess. Take the exam. I don't know what the deal with that emblem is. I'm guessing it's important because like they keep bringing it up, and this is the first time someone's recognized it. Like out of the blue, first time someone's ever recognized it.
Wait, when's the other time they brought it up?
It was like I think when they first brought it up when they were talking about. I think yeah, it was when they were leaving the town where Stark was pretending to be the princess, the king's son, and they brought up that he needed they need a mage of high skill, at least of a high rank, and like Frieren brings up she doesn't really have an official rank, but she does have this necklace, but nobody recognized it. They said like, I don't know what that relic is. I mean,
Yeah.
she showed it before one other time, but nobody recognized it. I guess technically speaking, she showed it 3 times at least. 2 times nobody recognized it, and then the one time someone did. We see in the flashback she shows Himmel and the gang this thing, and they don't know what it is. It's kind of disappoints Frieren, but then they also like they let her know like we know how skilled you are, so you don't need anything to prove it to us. Which also I find kind of cool that both Stark and Fern do the exact same thing. Like, I think right after the fact that she had that memory of that happening with her old group. So I thought that was a nice little like nod back to um some things stay the same while other things change. In this case, people knowing that how skilled she is never changes. I thought it was nice. Trying to think. I had something to say and I completely lost it.
That's because you're not very good at this.
Oh, screw you. That just made things worse. Now, like, I can't. I'm further away from what I had. That's something to do with them being in the. Well, Frieren and the gang go to the library to look up, I guess, the regulations and the rules they need to follow for the mage exam. When they get there and they sign up, they realize they got like 2 months. So like Frieren and Fern both spend that time training. I find it interesting that during that time Stark did no training whatsoever. Now I know he's not going to be useful in this, and he's not taking the test.
We don't know what he did at all. We know that he was like.
Hmm?
We don't really know what Stark did at all, do we?
No, he just rested. I think that's all he did because there was very moments where he was just laying down asleep. That was it. Like,
yeah, I mean, while they were, but that doesn't mean that's what he did the whole time. But we know he spent at least a portion of his time doing nothing. But
I feel like he did
nothing.
nothing.
I don't know. I feel like he did nothing, but we don't know that for sure. That's all I'm saying.
I feel like I know that for sure because what I wanted to bring up was like I find this funny that the training montage was Fern and Frieren, because the other times that we see them on a journey, Stark's always training. He's always swinging that axe. Like there isn't like a one time where he's not swinging the axe. But I just find it interesting that this time when it's Fern and Frieren's turn to train, he's just resting, usually doing what they're doing when he's doing that. So I just figured that he just said that, well, this is probably the one time, the only time I'll probably ever be able to take it easy. So I'll just take it easy. Not granted, like you said before, I had to be reasonable. We don't know whether that's all he did, but I feel like since all the moments that we've seen of him with them, he was sleeping. I don't know what other time he would have had to himself, other than maybe getting materials for them to eat or stuff like that and do some prepping. But like I couldn't imagine I guess he could have been swinging his axe somewhere, but I highly doubt he'd be doing it inside the library. Like he's like, sir, we don't want you swinging that weapon, but I need to try and do it outside, sir. Fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, before
Fern continues to be treating her pretty well. Treating Stark pretty well.
I'm not gonna like I did nothing.
It's okay for me to say that. Come on.
No, I'm just saying like nothing. It's like I can say it's like nothing's happened. For me that's just more a reflex. That's just more of a reflex for me. It's like But I mean, no, you can say it. Then it just like that's just gonna have a reflex. But
Yeah.
no, seriously, yeah, she's treating him. I mean, granted, she hasn't really been interacting with him all that much this episode. But crap that. Oh, that's right. Before actually, we also get some other characters. Actually, the first episode we're reviewing here. A few characters get introduced. Ubel, a human mage who apparently is a killer. We see Croft again randomly, who saves Ubel from a bunch of bandits.
Oh no, he didn't save Ubel.
Well, yeah, I mean, correction. Yeah, you're right. He saved the bandits from her.
Yeah,
because she was gonna straight up kill them. Ubel, I've seen her character art elsewhere. I didn't know what was going on. All I really saw of her and what I did see of her was a lot of people finding her attractive. I will say that they're not wrong. But
I guess so. I'm not that thirsty right now, but nothing wrong with her, but I'm not that thirsty.
I think it's very rare to see a dark-skinned character in any anime, so I'm gonna take what I can get, even if she is. I don't know if she's evil, but there's definitely something going on with her.
She's pretty happy about the killing portion of the test.
Well, I mean, that's when they said that she could kill. I don't think. I mean, I guess granted, she's killed before. I'm not saying that she hasn't. It just seemed like whenever they said she could kill, she got really happy about it. Ubel, and then you saw Kraft again. Kraft brought up like, well, I guess next time I see Frieren, she's gonna have some stories to tell. I guess he's assuming that Ubel and her are gonna fight, which I guess makes sense. If the next portion is mage against mage. I thought it was cool to see Kraft again, so I guess we're gonna see him almost immediately after this is over. I think. See this Ubel. We see other new characters in the exam when they have the gathering of the mages for the exam. There is a character with gray hair. I guess silver hair, I should say, not gray hair, silver hair. That apparently is like really strong. He's apparently, I guess, the cream of the crop. He's the leader of some like I guess high class guard, and apparently also a teacher at a school for mages, I'm guessing. The guy's got like a very short like magic wand. I found it interesting because he doesn't show it until like later on when he's in the middle of combat. I guess it makes sense. Most mages don't display their staff all the time, at least unless you're Frieren.
I just assumed mages in general don't display their staff all the time.
But Frieren it almost seems like she's almost got it. Well, no, I take that back. I feel like I've seen Frieren's staff a lot more though than you would think. I feel like hers has always been.
But it seemed like she could. Seems like she can materialize it. It doesn't seem like.
I'm not saying about the whole in and out thing. I just feel like I've seen her display it way more, even in non-combat situations. Like she'd just be walking with it. I'm just making a statement of like most mages don't seem to have their wand materialize all the time, but apparently Frieren does. There's two other girls who are fighting with each other. I think they're the blue and red girls you were talking about in the intro, I think. They're there, and you see Ubel, a few others. There's an old man they bring up who I guess has been around for a long time because he's got some prestige. I didn't think much of him until like I started hearing him talk and him like observe the arena the way he was doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's really strong, or I guess granted Frieren is also bringing that strength doesn't exactly make a mage really powerful or dangerous. Sometimes it just takes a lot of other attributes, and she just brings up she's like lost to like she's only had a handful of losses, and I like what I took from her counting on her losses, she's lost to a lot more humans than she's lost to any other species out there. I find that interesting.
I'll say I thought it was fairly wild that she's lost 11 times and survived. Well, I was like, how do you lose 4 times to demons and live through all 4 losses? That was pretty impressive.
She said that like they didn't really have much mana. I suspect that might have something to do with it. And it's not that dangerous. Granted, like I don't know how she's lost. Like she said 4 demons? Jeez. That's a lot more than that's a lot. That's a lot more than I thought. I thought she lost less than that. Okay, I know she's lost to one elf. She doesn't bring up who that was. And then she's lost to 6 humans. I'm like, 6 humans, and that bit seemed to really furrow her brow. So I'm guessing those humans she wasn't anticipating to lose to. So
I don't know. She didn't seem like she was thrown off by it. She more commented on it, like, as a matter of factly, she's like, like, I'm not invincible. Like, I've lost 11 times.
I know. I just feel like the demon thing.
I'm guessing one of them is the master, right?
Huh? Oh,
I would imagine one of them is the master. Yeah.
I guess. We didn't see her when they first. Well, I guess maybe she wouldn't need to fight her the first time they met. I guess. I mean, I guess it makes sense. She learned everything from her, so yeah. That's one of the 6 humans she's lost to. I don't know what the other 5 are. And none of them can be alive. At least I don't think any of them could be.
Mm-hmm.
Be interesting if one of them was, but I don't think they were. I wonder who that elf is that she lost to. And I wonder if that elf is still around. There's always a chance that elf could have been killed at some other point.
Did you notice the possible elf sighting for that elf in the opening when they were flashing the different?
You're talking about that blonde-haired
people?
elf. That was the elf from the last intro.
Do you know what I'm talking about other than the blonde hair elf? You didn't let me finish my sentence, so I don't know if you know if you figured out what I was saying, or if you're just talking about something that's not what I was talking about.
I don't know what elf you're talking about. I only saw one.
When they show.
Sorry, I just only said.
When they showed.
Fuck.
Okay, tell me when you're ready. Just say like.
No, so
over now,
I was only gonna say I only ever saw one in the intro. You can go.
I said to say over and out, but you talked over me while I was saying that. So I just gave up. What I'm trying to say is when they were talking about how many people were on the 5th level wizards, they show this shadowy picture of the people that made the 5th level wizards, and one of them, the one in the center sitting on a throne, looked like an elf, and it looked like the same elf that we saw it looked like the same elf that we saw in the last 2 intros.
I thought I was saying that thing. I thought I said that earlier, that it was a blonde elf.
Yeah, but did you think it was that elf? And because if that's the case, we might be meeting that elf soon, and that might be the elf that we were wondering about. Is the elf that was the head elf of those 12, or like the ones that in that shadowy picture. Did you say when you were saying that you were talking about the shadowy picture too? If so, I'm sorry.
I don't remember this. Is this in the intro or the outro? Or are you talking about this happening in an episode?
Neither. It's when I'll see if I've got a timestamp for it, but I think I did.
It happened in the episode?
In episode 18. Yeah. At 2 minutes and 7 seconds.
I mean, did Frieren react to it?
No, because it was like more it wasn't someone that Frieren saw. It was like when they were doing explication, they skipped to it as like something for the audience, okay, not as something they were showing like that Frieren saw. Yeah, if you pause it like 2 minutes and 5 seconds, that's where I'm paused right now, and you look all the way down at that throne, you can see what looks like an elf, and it even has blonde hair.
Oh, okay. I think I saw
And
this.
she's sitting in a similar position to the elf in the intro.
I guess it would make sense. I mean, again, I don't know how old this elf is.
Doesn't matter how old she is. What matters in this very instance is that she's here, and she is a 5th level wizard, if that's the case. And I don't see why they would show her there if she wasn't. But also, because she's sitting on a throne and the others are standing in line, like down to her, it kind of feels like she's the head elf of those people. She's in the spot where if there was a leader of the wizards, she would be sitting in the position that implied she was the leader, because she's on a throne. And the others look like they're more like her followers.
Okay, I was about to correct yourself there a minute. Also, head elf. I mean, I can't tell. They don't like the first two in the front don't have normal ears. That guy in the with the wizard hat, I can't really tell. I get what you mean, but I was mostly about to comment on that, like, head elf. These guys don't appear to be elf. Now, I can't say much.
The only elf. I'm sorry.
No, it's no, like, I can't tell much about, well, the one guy that's closest to her on her left. All three of those guys I don't think are elves. There's a possibility that girl that's closest to her might also be one, but I can't tell because her ears are covered.
Yeah, super obscured, yeah.
Her ears are covered anyway. But yeah, I see. I don't. This is weird. I must have saw this and didn't do much of it.
No, it's just like if you look, she's bare-legged. If you look close enough, like I am, like she's bare-legged. She's got some sort of bracelets on her ankles, at least. She's definitely got elf ears because they're sticking right out, and she has long blonde hair. And it looks like a sketchy interpretation of that elf from the intro.
Well, I agree with you, but I didn't think much of it. I think as of today, I thought about it. That's possible. More than likely, it has to be her. But it kind of breaks the whole idea that she's evil. She might just be really creepy.
She could be. She could be the reason that the elves, the wizard thing, like in episode 19, Denkin seems to be pretty opposed to the way the wizards are doing things these days, and they're creating processes that kill a lot of wizards and like are pretty reckless with them. Like this mage's test kills a lot of wizards unnecessarily, and in a time when there's not a lot of wizards left to fight the demons. And Frieren mentioned that there seems to be something going on in this episode, in episode 18 for the first time, that there seems to be something going on in the area just beyond this. So the elf could be something evil that's kind of infiltrated and taken over a position of power to weaken their defenses, like just like in the last major city that they were in, when a demon was attempting to do the same thing.
I mean, yeah, there's a chance. I just probably start thinking, like, to be this high up, regardless of what the Magic Council is doing or not doing in this case. I don't know, like, an elf would be all that concerned. Like, I mean, I only brought up even evil elf because of how she looked, but that honestly could have just been, and that's me being judgmental about the way she looked. It was like versus like anything she was actually doing, because it wasn't like she was doing anything in the intro. She was kind of sitting in a chair like she's doing right now. So like,
she kind of had a scheming look in her face, but I agree that she's not doing anything, but she did sort of have a scheming look in her face, like she had something unpleasant in her mind.
Yeah, I'm probably just thinking now that might just be her normal face, not normal face, but her normal thinking face. Maybe she just looks that way, and she's not necessarily, she's not good, but she's also not evil. Like, maybe she's like, she likes to, poke holes in things. If there is something going on with the Magic Council and Dinkin, I think it's his name, the old man, I'm guessing there also could be, she would probably be the other character, especially if she is holding rank in the Magic Council itself. It looked like she is based on what you brought up with where she's sitting right this minute. Um, she might hold rank in there, so it's possible she could also not think the Magic Council is like, doing anything, doing good or whatever out there, or doing anything helpful. It is strange that they bring up that there's something going on in Northern Lands. So it's like, okay, well, this is definitely leading up to something.
Yeah, that was the first. Remember, in the last podcast, I said I find it interesting that we haven't had a villain like established yet. That's the first sign I've seen that maybe there's a villain coming.
We shall see. I mean, they're setting it up like it. I just don't know like what is ultimately going to come of us going to the Northernlands. But with that being said, is a part of the reason before the podcast I was saying, like we started, I just said like I find it hard to believe that, at least for me in general, I find it hard to believe that they're only going to do maybe 3 episodes or 4 of this test, because I feel like this test seems like a hurdle more than anything else versus like a trial versus anything else. Because they spent so much time leading up to the test. It feels like it'd be a waste of time for us to go to the city and only break the last 4. I could be 100% wrong. There's something else coming up, because I know they said that beyond this place is like to the east of this place is I think turf, what did he call it, and that's where our priest guy went. And like him leaving, regardless of how much I predicted it and said, how much I was, saying like I feel like he's gonna leave. It wasn't like I wanted him to leave. Just I feel like just the way he was talking about his friend is like, I feel like he's not gonna leave his friend, especially if he's that concerned about him. So it's possible after we're done here, if this is a short thing, we could go over there and recruit him again. But again, I don't know if he will join them again, because I mean he's looking for his friend, and if he still hasn't found them, he'll probably continue journeying by himself, I guess. Either that or he'll change his mind and join back up again, but I don't know. He kind of joined up with Frieren on a whim. Huh? Not Kraft, but the priest dude. Well, there is Kraft. But I wonder like why he... I feel like, I don't know, like if a monk and a priest are the same thing. Well, Kraft does believe in the goddess, and all they really need from a priestly person is just their ability to heal. And I think monks have the ability to heal somewhat. It'd be interesting to see him travel with them, but I don't know if he would join them. He seems more, Kraft seems like the type of guy who wants to just travel by himself. It'd be interesting if we saw Kraft travel with them. So maybe we can ask him about that statue. Like, hey bro, we saw a statue like a few towns back. What? I destroyed that thing. I mean, what? I wonder if the secret or his past that he didn't want to talk about so much has something to do with that human. I wouldn't put it past the animators or the story maker. Actually, I was talking about the mages that we saw that get introduced. I also do like the it seems like the proctors, the test takers, they all noticed, at least one of them noticed how much like mana Frieren had, even though she was like, keeping it contained.
Frieren, yeah. I also noticed when she was working with Lowena, she said she wanted to go off on her own, and Frieren said, and she had just mentioned that she was stronger than the other character. What's her friend's name, or probably her lover's name?
I thought you would have remembered, because you pulled out Lowena's name. I forgot.
Connie. Okay. Lavina, even though it's spelled with a W, it's apparently Lavina. And Connie, Lavina says that she's stronger than Connie, which seems to be true. And Frieren looks at her carefully when she wants to go off on her own and says, "Are you stronger than me?" And Lavina says, "I wouldn't want to take you on," like in a way that confirms that she doesn't believe she's stronger than her. And I think what was happening there was Frieren was trying to figure out if Lowena was clever enough to go off on her own or not. because she, I think Luina didn't believe at first that she was, and then she like wasn't sure at first, like she didn't have confidence in her, and that was like her verifying question. She's like, if she's smart enough to know that she is not stronger than me and she can see through my disguise, then she is someone I can trust out on the out on her own. But if she's not, then I can't do that. I think that was like what she said. And then you see a follow up there that Luina is pretty wise when she says, you know, she goes, watch your head, like watch the skies. And she said, I'm way ahead of you, which I think meant that Luina was aware of those bird creatures that Connie was not aware of. And I think she got a little bit of Friren's respect there as like someone that could handle themselves.
I didn't really think about that much, but I guess that does make sense. I was gonna bring up that it's interesting that so far, when it comes to Frieren's suppressing of her own mana, most folks don't see that she's got more mana than she is. So far, we've seen 2 people this particular part of the story so far that have seen through it, which is impressive. I was like, oh, that seems interesting. I wonder if like maybe it's not as impressive as I think it is. Maybe like if you say clever enough, you can see past her suppressing her mana. This takes a certain type of person to do it. But so far, 2 people have done it. But yeah, that was interesting. Also, the bird thing, I honestly was never anticipating. I thought there was gonna be something flying in the sky. I wasn't anticipating giant bird monsters. That I wasn't anticipating. I was like, oh, maybe there's something else. Maybe there's a demon that can fly, or there's like some other thing, like a dragon in the air. But I guess it makes sense that there be bird monsters, considering that like the rest of the episode, as they're trying to capture the still, which is the first test that they're going to take, that I'm assuming is the first test, they're catching a still, and apparently a lot of the mages don't know how to deal with this because they weren't taught this in mage school. And in Frieren, I think he mentions like, I don't know why they, like, I guess like why would they teach you that? But apparently Frieren's accounted enough of them to know how like that they need to observe. Just because like she gets paired off with Tawny and Lovelina, and Fern gets paired off with Ubel and some random mage who I don't think has a name, or does he?
Who is she paired off? Ubel and who?
Just some random mage. I don't think the mage had a name. Did he?
What did he look like? The white and black robed one?
No, glasses, blonde hair.
I don't know. There was a Reddit thread where they announced every single one, and I didn't keep track of any that didn't appear in the anime, so I didn't read it because I didn't want to spoil anything possibly. But there was someone that did like a recap that I didn't read.
Oh, Fern's group doesn't even happen in episode 18. Okay. Let's see, really quick. You know, they get set up to do, well, at first when they're they get paired off in groups of 3 with some magic bracelets to help them find their partner. And at first I thought, you know, the little bright spot in the distance that she was finding, that Frieren was walking to, was going to be Ubel. And I was like, oh lord, they're going to pair off with Ubel, aren't they? And nope. It's just, I guess that would have been too easy to foresee. So they decided to give us 2 random mages that apparently work really well together, even though they fight constantly. And it kind of forces like Frieren into like a leadership position that she doesn't want, but she vocalizes this a lot. That she doesn't want to be the leader of the group, but she has to. And then Fern gets, you know, paired off with Ubel and another mage. I would say I was expecting Ubel to be a lot less easy to work with, but so far she hasn't done anything that makes me concerned for Fern's safety yet. So far she hasn't done anything. As you mentioned before, as I'm looking for the still. They capture a still, the 2 girls, Tawny and Lovina, do, but apparently they weren't prepared for the sonic boom toots that this bird had, because after they caught it, the bird went from 0 to Mach 50 in a minute, in a second. and they weren't anticipating it. After they caught it, Frieren just says, "Okay, well, good. Well, now we need to duck before it's too late." It's like, wait, what? And then poof, I was like, oh, well, no wonder no one's caught these birds. They kill you if you do. There's a tiny bird too that is like going that fast. I wonder if that bird's actually based off of something in real life that doesn't go that fast, but is kind of like small and quick.
I don't know. The fastest bird there is the swift bird. I know that sounds like a weird.
It doesn't sound real.
Weird name. It can fly up to 69 miles an hour.
Ha, nice. Oh, really?
Peregrine falcons can go 200 in a dive. And white-throated swift birds can hit bursts of speed up to 200 miles an hour, it said. So I would probably go with swift bird or peregrine falcon.
Oh, what was the third bird you mentioned?
White-throated swift bird. While dodging predators, they can have a burst of speed up to 200 miles an hour.
Nature is a crazy is a mad scientist. Jeez. Okay. Speaking of birds, so after like Lavina goes off on her own, we see the groups sleeping, and then apparently Tawny wakes up saying that she can hear something. She thought it was rain. But she wakes up and she is apparently not raining. She sees that Frieren's gone and she's looking for her, and then she goes up to like close to an edge, which I think is a bad decision at night, but she does anyway. And then she gets jumped by a giant monster bird, and she calls out for Lavina when Frieren shows up, and he pretty much constrains the giant monster to save her. And that's basically how the episode ends after that. Well, no, it doesn't end there. Hold up. It ends after like Frieren and her have a conversation about like specifically, she doesn't seem to like Lavina, but she still called her name out. And then we get like a little flashback of like them when they were, I guess earlier days, learning from the school. Lavina, was kind of mean to her, which like, I guess I can see how these two could work. Like one's mean, the other one's soft. That's kind of interesting that she's kind of rude to her, but it's like, I guess it's like they can just desensitize to it now in this show. It's like Lavina kind of reminds me a little bit of Fern a little bit. Just like a little bit, like not a lot. It's like she kind of has her mannerisms, but it doesn't seem like she means it at all. She just realizes that Tanya doesn't respond to anything but her mean comments.
I think that's the same relationship dynamic that Ferd and Stark have, where Fern is whether she's pushing her away.
It doesn't seem like it's really pushing Tanya away that much, though. It just seems like she knows that they're friends, even though they don't like to say it, and they argue constantly.
I think they're lovers.
I was wondering this was a lesbian couple, but I don't think so.
Really? She said you're cute, and then the other person went, ew, gross, and then she kicked her off a cliff.
Yeah, but that was just more.
That sounds like flirtation to me.
No, I felt like that was just a comment because she asked her to call her cute. That wasn't like.
No, she asked her to pay her a compliment. She said, "What am I good at?" And she was talking to her more like a teacher.
So my question is, you don't think another girl can call another girl cute without that really being a flirtation?
I think that when it leads to someone saying "ew, gross" and kicking you off a cliff, I think that there is a new connotation to that.
I wouldn't think so.
Well, Reddit would disagree with you.
Reddit can burn.
Just saying, like I'm not the only one that occurred to.
I mean, not like it didn't occur.
I think that if it's true, I think they're gonna keep it really subtle. Like I don't think this is the kind of show that's gonna like lean in real hard to a lesbian relationship. But I think that's what they're talking about there.
If there's a lesbian relationship, I think they're gonna lean right into it. I don't think this show's afraid of doing that. They don't have the anime doesn't have the same constraints as like American TV. they'll do they'll do that kind of thing. I mean, it'd probably only be like one couple like that, but they'll still lean into it. I don't think they're afraid to
I just find I don't think this is that kind of anime, but I could be wrong.
I just don't. I could see it, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't seem and maybe it's because I've again might be desensitized to it. I've seen a lot more in those situations where you would think there's a lesbian thing going on, and they go a lot more harder into it in terms of like they do more than just say cute. They're cute. Like they'll usually grab their body part in any way, shape, or form. They'll jump on them. It's like but she doesn't seem like the type of girl, personality wise. Regardless, though, it's like even girls like that typically they'll do something to let you know. I don't know. Again, could be. Who really knows? Maybe they kiss at the end and then we get the confirmation there.
Yeah.
So, but even then, it's like it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, if they were, I guess if they did like each other, I don't know why she would tell Frieren that she doesn't like her. It would seem like to me like she would at least.
Because that seems to be not saying straight out how you feel about somebody seems to be the theme of every single thing that's happened in this show so far. There hasn't been a single time when someone has straight out expressed their romantic feelings for somebody.
But even then, it's like it's not. I could see it. She don't say it around Lovina, but why would Fern care? I mean, not Fern. Why would Frieren care? It's like all Frieren was concerned was like, why do you fight? That's like, or that's really what that question to me when Frieren asked it to her seemed like it was more concerning to me. A romantic interest, like say, oh, okay, that makes sense. I feel like that would have been a lot more clarifying than some backwards story about how Lovina pushed her off a cliff. Which is what that story was. Yep. It was about her being pushed off a cliff. To me, it's like, I don't think Frieren even cares. I think she was just more concerned that these two fight so often, but yet they work so well together. So to me, it's like if Frieren, I think that would work to her benefit more than anything else. But yeah, I can see what you mean. I can see both sides. I'm just more, I don't know. It just, to me, it seems like just friends. And I've seen anime characters animes where the girls do that, call each other cute, and they don't seem to mind, and it's all platonic.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see both sides here. Then as the episode ends, Tawny tells Frieren about something that she noticed, and I'm guessing it must have been what she thought was rain, but it wasn't. I'm guessing that what she thought was rain was the sound effect of the bird flying quick, I guess. It's the only thing I could think, because they brought it up and then she doesn't really, she gets jumped by a bird before she gets to investigate it.
Well, she wasn't watching the sky like Frieren told her to.
I mean, true, but at the same time, it's like she got saved by Frieren, so I mean, she does tell her something. I'm guessing it is, and that's how the episode ends. But I don't know if it was about what she had heard or what she learned or whatever like that about whatever she was hearing, because they don't really explain what she's hearing. I can only assume or infer that it's about.
Oh, she was hearing that the barrier sounded like water, which I don't think so far we've learned the significance of that. Even though Frieren said she could definitely use that information, I didn't know what the significance of that was.
Repeat that again.
The barrier sounds like water. Yeah.
The barrier sounds like water? Is that what she said to her? I didn't hear anything at all.
Yeah, but I don't know what that means.
Well, Fern says that. Well, Fern brings up an interesting point. I didn't know this was happening, because she brings it up as her group after they caught the still. Well, we can go to episode 19, but after she brings up that that to get the bird, and they gotta because now they gotta protect their bird from onlookers stealing theirs. Frieren
Mhm.
asked a question to one of her teammates about the barrier blocks water. Maybe that's what the sound of water is about. She know like maybe Tani noticed that there wasn't a lot of like the rivers were dry, and like maybe this is the barrier itself blocking the water, because they do, and I wasn't picking up on any of this until like near the end of the episode, where they were trying to prevent the still from using any other water source but one. But I guess it was actually brilliant because like, it prevents the birds from getting water from anywhere else but with the spot that they want to capture them in.
Mhm.
Yeah, they start like Tanya starts like dropping little bits of mana into the water pools, but only enough for the birds to notice. But apparently, if you're a skilled enough mage, like Dinkin was, because he noticed that there was mana inside the puddles of water, and he was wondering what was going on. Because then Tani and Lavina, she freezes the entire lake, I guess in the middle of the place, into ice, and they're wondering what's going on. It causes a couple of mages to freak out, and they're trying to, well, the girl orders her male friends to use their fire magic to unfreeze the lake. Apparently it's not going to be enough to be able to get, to get the water, it's not going to be enough quick enough to be able to get the lake unfrozen, so they're wasting their mana on doing that. Dinkin notices this, and he like pretty much takes his crew deeper into the woods as they're examining things, and they notice that apparently the birds have been diving into the woods and killing folk, because we see a group of dead mages on the ground.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh dang. He doesn't explain if these were new or they've been here, but he does say that apparently these birds have been laying their mana on dead bodies, and that's how they've been getting their prey. At least those ones, apparently the ones that are flying overhead. The one that almost jumped Tani, I don't think was doing that. I guess the bird just happened to see her and dive head first for her. These birds are apparently really smart, which kind of scares me. Just in
Are
general,
they smart or just like really well equipped to survive?
I mean, either way, they're doing things I don't think animals or monsters would do. At least the monsters that kind of like crawl on the ground on all fours. Not the ones that are capable of talking. It just is interesting that they got to be careful, but it also means like I'm guessing this must be the hunting ground for these birds, and they must have like a nest of eggs someplace nearby. I'm guessing because like they're everywhere on that forest. I mean, we see later on in the episode, like when Frieren is like standing by the lake that they decided to not put mana into, one of those monsters comes down, lands, doesn't even bother Frieren, takes a sip of water, and then flies off. And I was confused about that one. I was like, is that one not hostile? That's the word I'm looking for from earlier. Is that one not hostile, or is it just not bothered by Frieren right now? Like, it makes me curious, because Frieren was sitting down with her eyes closed, meditating, probably saying "Kumbaya" in her brain. But like, I'm sorry, just like
I like the fan fiction.
Kumbaya. Bird just drops. What the heck? I'm guessing this water. I'm just gonna leave you alone. I said that was weird though. I was half expecting that bird to do something or Frieren to kill it. It was one of the two. I was not anticipating the bird flying away. So and that was interesting. A little bit early on, she tells, like, she goes to strategize with Frieren goes to strategize with her group about how they intend to capture her still, and she brings up the fact that she intends to use the capture spell that she used on the monster, and she fears that it will work on the bird because it's supposed to work on anything bird-like, and that's the only reason why it worked on that bird monster. So like that was her plan. So they started dropping mana. Well, Tani started dropping mana into the pools around so they can cause the birds to go to a certain pond, and they were hoping that Tani was hoping that she planted enough mana in enough pools of water where basically they could track where the still was gonna go. Ironically, they were able to track where the still was going, but not before Dinkin and his group caught on, and they apparently whatever, like the spell takes a significant it takes a small chunk of mana from the looks of it, but like it's a significant enough amount of mana that that they were able to track where she was. And then the girl that was with the Dinkin is apparently quick, because she just kind of disappeared and then showed up right where they were. Was not anticipating that. I didn't know that there was another quick mage around. I don't know if that was physical ability or if that was her magic. I'm guessing it was her magic. We don't really know that yet, but like they encounter her as she's trying to take their bird. I don't know if Dinkin and the other guy that was with them show up with her or she went by herself. I need to have a look at that later. But really quick, there's another encounter with Fern and her group. Fern, Ubel, and the blonde guy. He's kind of got like a build almost like Stark, kind of, not really 100%. But after Fern's group captures their bird, they end up getting attacked by the guy with the gray silverish hair. He's apparently like the strongest one there. Well, that's what they say, he's the strongest one there. They get into a fight. Oh, I didn't realize the guy with this was Fern, has also got a wooden staff. Interesting.
That's what's significant about a wooden staff.
I have no idea. Just like a lot of mages don't have that. So far, Fern and him, and I guess the other dude with the group. So there's like 3 wooden staffs. I thought maybe there was a lot less of them. I don't know. It just seemed like it was weird because like some mages don't have wooden staffs. I don't know if that has anything to do with their rank or that's just a choice that they've made. I just find it kind of peculiar in a world where there's a lot of mages running around. There's so many of them using wooden staffs when it doesn't seem like they need to. Like other mages got other staves made out of different material.
I always thought there was just more like a matter of personal expression.
Well, I mean, Fern's got that little purple belt on her,
reflection
though.
of its style, maybe.
I mean, I guess I mean, Fern's got that little purple with belt on her as accessory. I just like, at first I thought maybe they only could use wooden staffs in this world, but apparently that's not the case. Plenty of mages don't. I don't know, maybe it has something to do with how much experience they have, and as you said, personal expression. But I just thought it was interesting. There was like so many wooden staffs that I wasn't anticipating. And also the staffs of different lengths.
What she said.
Oh well, couldn't avoid that one. There's like 1 or 2. Yeah, like Fern's group was like battling this other dude who I don't even remember his name. What, can I get his name?
Which guy?
The
cloaked wizard with blue hair is Warble. The white cloaked wizard with blue hair is Warble. The one with like looks like he's wearing an animal skin almost. What I found about that interesting is that that evil female wizard that we meet earlier on with Croft is named Ubel.
Well?
Yeah.
Why is that interesting? Does her name mean something?
Warble and Ubel. It's like they almost rhyme. It made me wonder if there was a reason for that.
I mean, it doesn't sound like she knows him. I guess it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. But they're both the aggressive wizards. You know what I mean? Like they're both the aggressive ones that seem like they're pretty happy to be fighting and killing and stuff like that. So they had like a similar temperament and similar names, and it just seemed relevant, possibly.
Really blue hair. Maybe I need to get my eyes checked. I guess I don't know. I thought that looked great. Tell me the dude with the short staff, right?
I mean, that's not the most important part. The other part was the important part, but you know.
Now I'm just trying to make sure his name is Warble. Hold up, I can probably just so I can get it better. So I just know what he was. If that's who I'm thinking of. That's not how you spell it. I don't know how you spell his name.
Which one?
You said
Warble? W-I-R-B-E-L.
W-I? Oh, W-I.
Yeah, I know because that's how they spell it in the that's how they spelled it in the subtitles.
Yeah, wearable. Oh, he's 33, 34. Okay. Okay. That's okay. Yeah, Warble. Warble gets into a fight with Fern's group, and he fires off a magic spell at Fern. But as we all know, she's really quick at responding. He manages to block his magic attack, and he was caught off guard by that. Let's see here. Let me get rid of that. But yeah, they get into a fight. Warble's fighting Fern, and then he has to switch his attention. He's trying to get the bird, and then the girl that's a part of Warble's group ends up attacking too. And then Fern and her get into a little scrap there, and Fern's able to keep up with her and keep her magic shield, up. So like, anytime she fires a magic spell, it blocks her. But then Fern also decides to use what looks like to be Zarstruck and going in different directions. God, this used that same exact spell on the demon that she fought. But apparently that doesn't work on the girl because she cast up her own magic shield, and she brings up the fact that Fern's kind of fighting like old she kind of like fighting like an old school mage, and like she thought that was a waste. I thought it was interesting. I never considered what Fern was doing as like old school way of using magic, but I guess like that's how Frieren kind of uses her magic. She doesn't really spend time learning really powerful spells. She kind of spends her time learning spells that she wants that she thinks are interesting.
Right.
But Frieren does not do any of that, so like her student probably wouldn't do the exact same thing. And then Frieren when the girl brings it up to her, she's like, "My master told me that basic defensive and offensive magic is good enough for a wizard of this age." But I thought it was interesting that Frieren said that to Fern. Which also makes me think that Frieren doesn't think much of the mages of this era, which is interesting to say the least. I'm actually kind of curious if her thought process on that's going to change after this, or it's going to stay the same. Because it doesn't seem like the mages of this era are to be taken lightly, and they're probably not as strong as the mages she's used to seeing, but they don't seem weak. At least the ones that we see here. Oops, I lose my monitor. Already brought up the encounter with Dickon. Yeah, like the episode ends with after Fern's in the middle of Fern's fight. Wait, is he getting tea? Wait. I just noticed I think Dinkin's getting tea in him. Oh no, that was one of the proctors just sitting in the middle of nowhere, relaxing. I wonder how he's doing that with a lot of monster birds in the sky. Maybe there's an area they got protecting them. Doesn't Dinkin also make mention of he knows that Frieren's more capable than she's letting on? Yeah, that I feel like he talks about Frieren at some point.
Dinkin?
Yeah, Dinkin.
He doesn't talk about her specifically. He knows she's up to something. Like he knows because he knows that there's a mage that's being very powerful and impressive that's hiding themselves right now, and that there's cause for alarm.
That makes sense. I guess another thing. I guess one last thing I gotta say before I guess Jock's notes come in. It does seem interesting that the mage that Fern's fighting is also basically fighting Fern floating. I know that flying magic is supposed to take a lot out of you. I know she's just floating, but it's I feel like even that's still gotta take a lot of mana to keep you up off of the ground while still firing off cannonball volleys of earth magic. it makes it just interesting that Fern does say that you are the stronger one, not him. Either Fern's underestimating that guy Warble, or the girl she's fighting is the strongest one, and Warble is just like pretending for some reason. Or it could be like you said before, maybe he's like the option is like she could actually be far stronger than she thinks than she knows that she is. Though with that being said, I don't think Warble cares all that much based off how much he seems to enjoy killing. I mean, next episode is literally called "Unnecessary Killing," and his face is in the thumbnail. It's like, good gracious! I'm just like, okay.
That may be a slight hint about what's to come. I don't want to take any big leaps here, but that could be a sort of a slight hint.
I don't know. I'm just saying because it's called "Unnecessary Killing" and his face is in the thumbnail. That's all I'm gonna say. I can only assume what's going on is like, okay, he has something to do with it. I sure hope we don't you don't go away from the Fern versus this girl's. I wonder, like, does she have a name? Like, she's gotta have a name, right?
Aren't you afraid to look this up?
She does have a name. I do not know how to pronounce this. I'll just type it in. It doesn't really say much. It's just her name. I think it's how you type it. Probably. I think Erie? That might be how you pronounce it. Erie? Also, the other option might be the unpopular option. Maybe Fern just thinks that she's stronger and there's really nothing, there's no real meaning behind it. Like, she just, like, it's her thought process on her. Because even though, like, Warble is supposed to be the strongest, like, she doesn't seem to keep her attention on him, like, at all. She only pays him mind when he's attacking her. Yeah, I'm like very interested in seeing whatever this Necessary Killing's about. I guess I will hand it off to you. I think I got enough time to have your both notes. It sounds like you don't got much to say about episode 18, but it sounds like you have more to say about episode 19.
Hang on a sec.
Hanging on. I wish I had the Jeopardy song. Could actually play that. Music I got playing. Stirred full mix.
All right. I told you about the elf. I thought it was funny that Frieren, you called this out yourself, but I thought it was funny how Frieren doesn't like to be called old. There's a couple times where it comes up that she doesn't like to be called old. And then did you notice that as well? Yeah, I'm correct that you noticed that as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, she brings up, she's still hanging on to when Fern called her an old hag. Not Fern, but I'll start.
And then, but then Croft, after he saves the people that Ubo was going to kill, Ubo calls Kraft old. Did you pick up on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Why did you say it like that? Because you already brought it up?
No, actually, I completely forgot about it, but I do remember her calling him old man.
And then see. Oh, this is just, you know how I write funny notes to myself? When Croft meets Ubo and he's like, I can tell that you're evil. I can see it by the flat look in your eyes that you're a killer. In my mind, I was thinking, I can fix her.
Oh god.
Right?
Really, bro. I mean, she's attractive, but I don't know if you can fix her.
And then I liked the vote of confidence, the subtle vote of confidence that Croft had when he walks away from Ubo. Because he tells himself he looks forward to the stories that Frieren has the next time they meet, which I think he implies that he believes that she's going to like survive this. With no problem, and then he's looking forward to the stories that she has to tell about it.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, that's the second time you made mention that he'll definitely see Frieren again. But I admit that might just be, you know, they're both elves. They live forever. Well, not forever, but they live for a long, long life. So they'll find they'll run into each other.
Well, they don't live for a long time if they die in the test, right?
I think it'd be difficult.
So I think that was a vote of confidence that he's thinking she's going to be fine. You know.
I agree. I'm just saying, like, yeah. Not much more to say on that.
I like that their motivation for joining this this life, like death-defying like scenario and like risking their lives and potentially dying is that the alternative is hiring a mage to come with them, and if that happened, it'd be so expensive that quote unquote we wouldn't be able to afford snacks anymore. Which I thought was a funny like reason to like risk your life. The Holy Emblem, you brought this up yourself, but I'm very curious if we're going to learn any more about the Holy Emblem in the future, like because it's old and rusty, but we don't know anything about it. This is a very subtle thing that I thought just was thought-provoking to me. It was an interesting scene when Frieren rolls over to Fern and just kind of like subconsciously puts her hand over Fern's mouth in her sleep. And I couldn't tell if that was awkward or possibly some form of foreshadowing or both. Like if she was like, if it was like a hint that I don't know. Because they do things like that and it feels like they're setting themes into place. You know what I mean? Like that they're putting like a concept into place that they're gonna like planting a seed for later, and it made me wonder if that was kind of going on in some way. So that was more like a note to myself to keep an eye on this for future episodes to see if anything comes out of that. I mentioned Fern asking her if she was stronger. You're cute when you smile. Notices, yeah, at the end of episode 18 is when she notices the barrier sounds like water. In my notes, I'd also followed up and said, you know, and it also sounded like she'd also noticed that the birds like water. So I wonder if there was a connection to that. But it's strange because like so far nothing's come out of that. So I'm curious if there'll be something that comes out of that later.
I feel like it did, didn't it? The next episode.
Something came out of the birds liking water for sure, but I'm less confident that something came out of her liking water for any reason.
Huh? I'm very confused that last bit.
I'm sorry. There's something that came out of the birds like liking water for sure, but I was less confident that there was anything that came out of the concept that like the barrier sounded like water. I'm not sure if we got anything out of that.
Well, that's what I said before. I think maybe I didn't say it clearly or not, like I didn't concisely say it. Fern brings up that she noticed that the riverbeds were drained and she had asked the guy who I don't even know his name, the guy that was with her group, like if the barrier cut off water. I can only assume that means, like, I guess the sounding of the barrier sound like water. I'm guessing only means that the sound that is reverberating around the barrier, because the barrier itself is blocking water, at least blocking the rivers, because there's still water in there. It's just it's blocking the river. What I thought was strange, I didn't think it was going to be doing that, but apparently I guess it is doing it. That's what Fern says. Is like she says that it's blocking the river, because like they were heading towards the main lake before it got frozen over, but then Fern just says like maybe we shouldn't. And then they went
maybe we should what? Okay.
I was like, they were initially heading to the big lake that got frozen over for water, because Ubel drank the last drop of water in her canteen. They were heading up there, but then Fern noticed that, well, actually, I guess not Fern. Ubel noticed that the riverbed was dry, because they were walking through what they thought was a gravel road, but was actually a dried up river. And then Fern makes the astute assumption that the barrier must be blocking the water. And then, like, after that comes up, Fern just says maybe we shouldn't go to the lake, and then that's when they get jumped by Warble. But as to the barrier, I can only assume that means that the barrier might be sounding like water because the water is hitting it, and it's like, I guess the barrier might just be, you know, receiving the vibrations of the water, which I don't know why the water be vibrating, but regardless, it might just be that the river is trying to fill the indent in the forest, but because the barrier is up, it's just blocking it. It's the only thing I could assume if you're saying that she said the barrier sounds like water, because the barrier wouldn't sound like water otherwise. I don't think it would, unless the barrier is water, but that'd be crazy.
I don't think the barrier is water, because it sounded like they were like nobody could ever get through that barrier. It seemed to be part of the pretense.
So I can only assume that means the river is trying to come through, but it can't.
Mm-hmm. Joel, cut it out.
Never.
So I thought it was interesting in the beginning of episode 19 that Lowena seemed scared, but wouldn't admit it. And then I came back to another sort of random question, which was like, why is Frieren risking her life for this? Is it really because of snacks? Like, why did they like do this instead of just like turning back?
I don't get the what?
Why is it so important that they go into this valley?
Because I think it's the only way they can get to wherever this heaven place is. Because I feel like, because that's the route was leading. They were going through where the Demon King was, because the Demon King's area was supposed to be like right before wherever this place that her master said that she found. In order to go through there, they're required to have a high level mage.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like, I don't think it's for the snack. Fern just only dropped that because right before, like that was like right before she said that, Frieren said that she didn't have the prerequisite class anyway, so she was gonna leave Fern to do the test, and then Fern just threatened her with the snack thing. But then after that, when Frieren brings up that she's got this necklace, is when the old man noticed it. That was the order of events that happened. I don't think it has anything to really do with the snacks, because even if that was the idea, before the necklace thing, Frieren would have no idea or way to take the test. So like Fern threatening her with snacks doesn't really help the cause. Because like at that point, Frieren didn't know she could take the test. Like threatening her with snacks, not being able to get snacks, I don't know what that would do.
Yeah.
And also, one last thing. I can't imagine hiring a high class mage will cost that much. Like maybe if you got like a decent guy, maybe that isn't like the highest ranked mage, like maybe you could get by. But I don't know how much I don't know how much those mages charge, and I didn't know they charged to be a part of the group. It's basically kind of curious: is Stark charging, or is he just there for free?
Uh, for free, I guess, right?
I mean, I guess he had to be because, like, I don't know. It just seems kind of weird that apparently there's this bit of information I didn't know, which is like apparently, I guess you're hiring him and not coming with you on a journey. So maybe that's the difference. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. A lot of these notes I've already talked with you about. I thought Denkin is going to prove to be a worthy opponent for Frieren. I was kind of pumped about him. I think he's going to prove himself to be like someone that's worth Frieren's time. I love the scene where they're looking at the evaluators, and one of them just like the guy's out there reading a book, and the one of those birds just kind of like shows up and like lands on his teapot. And I know later on, like,
does land? Okay.
Yeah, one of those birds. Yeah, one of the birds like that everybody's been trying to catch.
Oh, that
the
bird,
guy
sorry.
that. Yeah. One of them just lands on his teapot while he's there, and he's like, oh, da da da, like living his life.
I think I brought that up before, but I was kind of like, it was weird that and this is just, I noticed how the bird monsters have been acting. They're looking for humans to kill. So it makes me kind of curious, is he surrounded by some protection spell so the bird monsters don't attack him? Or again,
no, I think that was a little bit of, as funny as a comic relief as it was, I think it was also a little bit foreshadowing what they would need to do if they were going to succeed in the mage test, because the solution to the problem is to sit there peacefully. And when Frieren sits there peacefully, like one of those bird monsters comes by and like stops and drinks the water and leaves, as well as the bird that she's trying to catch and some other random monster.
Sorry, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, you go. You had a thought. I always stuck with.
So I think I think because like the scene with the older like the evaluator wizard sitting on like having a little picnic and reading a book and having the exact same thing to happen, I think he was doing exactly what Frieren does a little bit later. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
that makes sense. I would just all the dumb thing I was gonna say. It was a dumb thing. I was like, so are you telling me that apparently just sitting still? These bird monsters not as threatening as we think they are? Is basically all I was about to say, because I mean, regardless of the people that were dead, like it doesn't seem like it bothered Frieren all that much. It didn't want nothing to do with Frieren. I don't know if that had this to do with the fact that Frieren's magic is mana. It's just like maybe it could also tell that it wasn't worth the trouble to attack her.
I don't know, because I think she was suppressing her mana, so she was just a person sitting there.
That's what I was trying to figure out.
Maybe those things see with mana, like they hunt for things with mana, like, and that was like when she showed she had no mana, like she wasn't one of his interests, the bird's interests, because the bird was focused on things that did have mana.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it just seemed kind of weird that we've seen these things be threatening, and then all of a sudden, one just comes like, sip, and then flies off. It's just like, seriously? What? Why? Well, I can only assume that that one is just not hostile. But I guess you're right. Maybe they hunt with mana, and because she wasn't displaying any mana, you know, it just wasn't interested. Which I could buy. It was just really weird. Maybe it was more comic relief than anything else, because they are so threatening. So like, you know, maybe that's why. But okay, shutting up again.
Running out of stuff. Denkin, the older wizard's comment about how there far more skilled mages have failed this test in his life reminded me of the same thing from the previous episode where Frieren was showing humility and talking about how she'd been beaten by 11 magic users in the past, including humans. It seemed like another time when they were trying to drawing a parallel between the two of them. I also appreciated that the old wizard Denkin also was able to see the infinitesimal amount of mana in the water while the others with him couldn't see it. They had all these signals that he was like both skilled and wise. And then the only other thing I have is a funny comment I saw on Reddit that I wanted to steal and bring up. Where somebody said Frieren's maturity is inversely proportional to the maturity of her party members. In other words, the more mature her party members are, the less mature she is. The less mature they are, the more mature she gets, which I think is pretty fair. When she was around Sign, she was like much less mature. When she's around Fern, she's much less mature. But now that she has to be mature for these two to survive this test, like she's suddenly much more mature again.
I never even picked up any of that. I didn't think it was weird how she was acting in this one, because it definitely was not how she acts around Fern Stark. Yes, I do.
How mature she is like varies from episode to episode, but like the pattern is that when acts much more mature when she has to be, because the people around her are immature.
I probably should picked up on that with how like much those two were fighting around her, and it caused her to have to be the adult. And she doesn't like being the adult. She actually says this a lot.
I am an adult.
Go away, 16. Jeez. Wait.
It's not 16.
Go away, Perfect Cell, who is still voiced by the same person that does 16.
That wasn't Perfect Cell either.
Go away, Super Kami. You see, I'm going through all the names of one person.
I am Super Kami Guru.
This one person voices, because the person that does 16 is the one that does Kami. And I think they had to kill Kami just so it'd be easier for this person to voice 16. Really looking forward to see what his next episode is going to be. I guess I will I'm like the mage staffs. I hope there's a lot more variety, considering that there's so much variety with what a mage holds to use magic. Because I was under the impression that Warble wasn't using anything; he was just using his bare hands. But like that was not the truth. I mentioned this before. I was like, oh, that would have been way more impressive if he was actually casting magic with just his hands. I think you can. I just think the staff acts as a fulcra.
Yeah. It seems like anytime any wizard we've seen so far has wanted to do something serious with magic, they've used their staff. But the demons, I don't think, need a staff, do they? I think the demons don't need one.
I guess not. I don't know. The thing is, I don't know if that blood thing was magic as much as it was a freaking blood ability, but I could be completely wrong, and that was magic, and they didn't need. I guess another thing too is if demons do like really love magic, it would make a lot of sense that they would be able to cast it without the need of a focus or anything like that, considering that they spend their entire life cultivating it. So it would make a lot of sense that one of the first things they would do is learn how to cast it without the need of an implement. Now I want you to get curious. Now you said that, I wonder like what would happen if a demon got a hold of an implement.
Yeah, I mean, Frieren was casting folk magic, so it's not quite the same. Folk magic seems to be like a different variety of magic than the rest.
I guess we could say that as we're about to end here. The variety of magic in this show is actually shocking to me. Like, I thought it was just one type of magic. But now we're just seeing all kinds of magic. I was like, oh, folk magic? Apparently magic that is apparently so old that nobody knows how to cast other than the wielder who knows the spell. And I'm like, good lord. I know she's old, but Like, can you stop digging into her past like that? Like, I feel like the more we dig into Frieren's past, the more I want to know, because like I don't know where this old magic. Because she even brings up too, like the mages that used to be running around were better than the ones running around right now, and they like had more magic at their disposal. It just seems kind of weird, considering for somebody who doesn't really care for magic all that much, seems to know a lot about it.
Yeah.
I get that she's using magic herself to cast spells, but it's like she said that she's only really doing it because somebody thought it was pretty, and that was her only motivation. It's like I'm guessing maybe it's just like she's learning, and that's just, you know, that's what she gets out of it. It is still kind of funny though. Like somebody says like you're casting magic like an old person, meanwhile she's like kicking your butt. So he says like the girl said, like Aries said that she reminds her of her grandfather. I guess with that was in your notes.
Yeah, I thought it would keep us going a little bit longer, but yeah.
That's no problem. Okay, I just wanna make sure you didn't have I guess that was it. I guess we'll come back next week for next episode. See how like this I would call it a massacre, but we're not there yet. How this ends.
Mm-hmm.
Where episode will be episode 20 next week, and there'll be 8 episodes left after next week. Unless we end up doing something off the top of our heads. See you guys Thursday for the start of Shadow Colossus. Cannot wait to have Jock experience a game that does very little talking, but when it does, it's meaningful. All right.
Oh dear.
Good night, everybody. Don't worry, it's not dangerous. That's not helping at all.